Hello everyone, I'm Kang Liang, and welcome to my channel. Many of my friends who enjoy painting landscapes often ask me about composition, especially beginners who can feel lost when facing complex scenes. They find it difficult to capture grand scenes and sometimes fail to identify interesting smaller details. So today, I like to talk about how to choose a scene when it comes to composition. There are many elements involved in the composition of landscape painting. In representational and realistic painting, scene selection often involves three parts: foreground, middle ground, and background, which is similar to still life painting. The foreground enhances the sense of a space in the composition, while the middle ground is usually the focal point of painting, often used to tell the story of the scene. The background provides a scene of depth and distance, which could be the sky, mountains, or distant scenery. The following scene is an ordinary street view, although there are people, trees, cars, and buildings in the image. If we were to paint directly from this reference, the middle ground would appear too crowded and complex, while the foreground, aside from the shadows, would feel too empty. In this case, we can select a more reasonable and interesting portion of the scene to paint. First, we can focus on the section of a larger scene, using the figure in the foreground as a focal point, simplifying the trees and greenery in the middle ground, and almost rendering the distant background as a flat image. This way, the composition has strong sense of space, and the painting feels full and balanced. Next, we could choose another section, focusing on the trees in the middle ground, with large areas of green leaves and dark tree trunks. The distance background should be painted more roughly based on the level of details of the trees. We can focus on capturing the large shifts on the light and the shadow and simplify the sense of volume. In this case, the two figures in the foreground should be painted with more details than the two figures further away. This creates a contrast between a complexity and a simplicity, as well as between solid and empty space, which generates a sense of depth. These two pieces are relatively small in size, and the painting process is quicker. Another option is to select a larger, more complex scene and use a larger paper. For example, we can move the figure in the foreground to the right side of the painting, making it the main subject. The color of the trees and greenery in the middle ground should be unified, avoiding excessive detail, while the figures should display different poses and actions to make the scene more lively and interesting. The distant background should be simply summarized, focusing on the light and the shadow changes without overcomplicating it, as this could flatten the scene and destroy the sense of depth. Here, I'd like to emphasize that photos taken with the phone are records of the actual scene, where everything is often in sharp focus. But as artists, we are storytellers. We need to present the narrative in an engaging way, which requires us to establish a focus and prioritize certain elements. Many unnecessary details are often just brushed over. Finally, experienced artists can transform the cloudy scene into one that is bright and full of contrast, giving them more freedom when selecting a scene. This is because they have already processed and refined the scene in their mind. However, beginners should try to choose scenes with a clear light and a shadow contrast for practice, as such scenes make the volume of objects more distinct. The scene's volume is stronger and the colors brighter and more saturated, which makes them easier to mix. Cloudy scenes with more gray tones present a challenge because the depth and the range of the painting are more similar, making color mixing more difficult. The three paintings in this video are composed from three different perspectives of the same street scene. Which one do you like the most? Well, today I've just shared some of my thoughts on scene selection, and I hope it provides some inspiration for you. Thank you. Goodbye.